Wasabi gangsters, pardon my appearance. I have dinner with my mother in Brooklyn tonight, or today, actually, lunch in about an hour. I'm gonna be late. Here's my Riven, Riven, because I'm reading Riven Earth. That's my Darth Revan lightsaber. It's a real deal, holy feel. So I'm going to do my weekly reading slash writing recap. I might throw in a book of the month here, simply because I have a book in the month of July that I love so much. That I would consider to be a book of the month. I don't know if it's gonna be a regular thing, maybe not, just depends, because honestly my memory sometimes gets shoddy. But anyways, let me get into what I'm currently reading. I'm reading The Assassin's Apprentice, picked that up with John from Talking Story. He convinced me in his comments with a simple sentence, something along the lines of join me, and I was convinced. I'm about 28% of the way through, and I started it, I think, the beginning of the week. And I am in love with it. It's a fantastic read. I didn't know what to expect. Assassin stuff, like Kalam from Malazan. I love that kind of dark assassin stuff. But this is a very, you're seeing it from a very young age, kind of growing, and it is very good. It's written very well. Obviously, she's like very talented author. Robin Hobb is, and I'm loving it so far. I'm absolutely loving it. I am about 40% through Riven Earth. I was at the prologue last week. Also loving this. It took me a little bit to get into the world and like ground myself in it. And once I started kind of seeing where he was going with the world building and the characters and how they fit into the world, I was able to ground myself and really get invested into the characters. Otto is my favorite character so far, for sure. That said, the characters are all written very likably, although it is definitely a grim, dark novel. I use that in quotes because there have been aspects that have been very dark, but for the most part, I think the author's talked about it himself as well. It's like there's still like this overarching ambiance of hope somewhere in there so far. And I mean, I haven't gotten too far into the plot just yet, but I am loving meeting these characters. And then Empire of the Vampire. I am just over 20% through this puppy. Again, I'm doing a read with my girlfriend on this one. And I got ahead of myself a little bit because they're very addicting chapters to read. The main character's voice is very, very easy to read. It's very, very easy to flow. It flows very well. Listen to me. This is embarrassing. And I'm again, loving it. I finished Queen Amid Ashes, which I'll pull up the cover on my Kindle here in a second. I finished Queen Amid Ashes, and I finished Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 2. I love the short stories, Tales of the Sun Eater Volume 2. I thought they were all very good. And then Queen Amid Ashes, as I'm reading Christopher Ruocchio's collections here, before I get into Disquiet Gods, I have Volume 3 of Tales of the Sun Eater, which is next amongst all of what I'm currently reading. And I have Dregs of Empire, which I'm going to again read before I read Disquiet Gods. Not for any particular reason other than I want to make sure I'm all caught up on Christopher Ruocchio, as he is one of my favorite authors. This is an absolute necessary read of all of the novellas and short stories that I've read. This one, the tie-in to the main series, and just the overarching themes and the foreshadowing, which we only know it's foreshadowing because we know how this book ends, how the series ends based on the beginning of Empire of Silence. The foreshadowing done in this and how it impacts the character of Hadrian Marlowe, who is writing to us from the future. This is an absolutely fantastic must-read novella, and I loved every second of it. I loved the encounter, the specific aspect of the story, the characters in it. Christopher Ruocchio is definitely at his best here, and this one is such a standout for me in the whole series in general. And then we'll do my book of the month, because why not? Imperium, which I talked about like the last 3 weeks. This was my book of the month. I am going to be doing a top 10 video probably next week. I won't be doing this weekly update because I'm going away. So you won't hear about my writing next week unless I talk about it when I do the top 10 video. But I think top 10 videos are a pretty good way for people to get an idea of somebody they're watching, their taste. So when they're hearing my descriptions of these books, there's a little bit more that we can talk about in that regard. So I'm going to share that with you guys. I decided that I'm going to do, it's a top 10. There's 5 honorable mentions, so it might as well be a top 15. And in doing that, any one of those 15 books can slot in and out of positions regularly, because of just simply how much I love each of those books and what they have all meant to me, and how they're written, just all of it. And I want to, of course, mention Talking Story this week for bringing me up on their channel. That was very kind of them. The love is reciprocated, obviously, for Jacob and John, and it means a lot. It's really cool to interact with people in this community, and they definitely are part. I'd say the biggest reason as to why I just decided to pick up my phone and start recording this hobby that I love, and obviously talk about my writing, but they were a giant part in me just getting the gall to just do it. So I want to thank them. And then I'm going to talk about my writing now, so you guys can tune out if you're just here for the reading. Otherwise, I am at 95,000 words, 94.5, but 95,000 words. We're a little over my desired halfway point as far as word count is concerned. I am, for those who are understanding the types of writers, I'm more of a pantser than I am a planner. Whoa, I probably said that wrong. And I do a little bit of planning, and for the most part, I let the characters tell the story. And last night was such a phenomenal writing session for me, just in terms of the feeling I got in writing the scene that I was in the middle of. I switched perspectives a little bit. This is a multi-perspective fantasy novel. This is book 2. Book 1 still being read by beta readers. I should be expecting that feedback in September, the end of September, and I'm going to go from there and re-edit before sending it off to a developmental editor, which I will expose once I decide fully who I'm going to be going with. But yeah, I just had one of those writing sessions last night that was, I like asked my girlfriend to read the scene I wrote. I was just like, I know it's probably going to get edited to oblivion, but I just felt such an emotional tie to the character I was writing and his experience in the scene that I was writing, the battle that I was writing. The book, and I won't keep it a secret, the goal, it's called Mercy, Tears of the Fallen, at least as of now, subject to change, and it's totally a book title. As far as Mercy is concerned, I'm sure has been used a bunch, and I have looked it up. But in terms of epic fantasy, it's a little open-ended, so I'm really looking forward to hitting the scene hopefully next summer. We'll see how the editing process goes, the cover design process goes, and some internal sketches go with my sister. Other than that, guys, that is my book update. So 95,000 words, about halfway desired. Word count for part 2 of this. It's a duology, but this is part 2 of the very first book overall, the first arc that we're in the middle of writing. So anyways, I didn't talk about Berserk. I made it a little bit farther. I'll hold it up because, these are just beautiful additions, right? I made it a little bit farther beyond the Nosferatu stuff. We're starting to see a little more Griffith and where that's going, and I'm excited. Just knowing what I know about the series, I already know that it's going to be a very interesting turn of events. I put my bookmark in this puppy because I decided it's 160 pages, the first book of this Dread Empire prequel, which is technically book 4 and 5. This book is books 4 and 5, which, not crazy long. So I think I might read book 1 just simply because it acts as a novella to my general reading, before I get into The Failures by Benjamin Lyer, just as a follow on with more reading as I finished talking about my reading a while ago. And anyone who skipped to this point, perhaps you're getting a little extra. And then Forgetting Moon, I'm a little over 50 some odd percent, probably 55% listening to on Audible. Also loving that so far. It's very easy to follow, and I'm very much enjoying Brian Lee Durfee's writing. I'm enjoying the story. I'm enjoying the characters. I'm getting very attached. And I'm excited to get into the next one, but I might have to put Red Country over the sequel to The Five Warrior Angels, simply because I want to catch up on Joe Abercrombie, and I just am missing his world. But yeah, that's the weekly update, guys. Expect a top 10 video next week, just for the sake of people who are coming in. It's a good idea to get a taste of what I like to read. I wanted to thank you guys for tuning in. Hit the thumbs up button. That always helps, I'm sure. Comment below. Let's talk about what you are currently reading, maybe your book of the month of July. And if you're writing, feel free to spout out down in the comments below about your passion. I love to hear it. Anyways, see you guys next week.